Boom and a boom. It is 9 o'clock in the morning. The 24th, Tuesday the 24th of September AD 2024. And let me show you guys what I'm looking at, because you guys are like, what's he looking at? Look at this. Look at what I have to deal with. I'm such a boomer. But this is a nice desktop that I'm showing you guys. Computer desktop, boomers and Hake. Nick the Anchor Baby is laughing at me, laughing with me. And we're going to have a fun show, guys, I hope. Thank you, Anchor Baby. Always helping out. We're looking at the beautiful Santa Monica Beach Pier and the Santa Monica seagulls and water. Is it safe to be touching that water? I don't know. There are calls on the line, guys. I will get to all of your calls today, hopefully, okay? We're going to have a fun show. I hope you enjoy it. I wanted to talk about this I read a little bit from 1 John, and I might read a little bit to you from 1 John. Did you know that the word of God abides in you, young men? At least according to this poem in 1 John, like 2 or something. And then there's this other gal who talks about unforgivable, her lamentations, not biblical lamentations, not Christian lamentations. This woman's lamentations about racism in the MAGA movement. Because she supports Trump. But not these Trump supporters who are racist. So it's a big mess going on in the world. And your super chats, guys, I did see some of them come in at your coffees, buymeacoffee.com/The Hake Report. By the way, it is fall. I did intend to talk about the fall. Is it equinox or equinox? Somebody tell me. So, important stuff we're covering on the Hake Report, okay? Hope you enjoy it. Anyway, guys, let's just get right on with the show! Wow. Whoa! What is this?
Oh, it's the Hake
Friday?
Report, the Hake Report, la la la.
Hello.
Oh, it's the Hake Report, la la la.
Hey guys, my bag. I'm playing you the Friday song. Not Joel Friday, the AJ Gallardo. Beautiful Friday, the Hake Report song. You guys want the real one? I don't know. Too bad.
Oh, it's the Hake Report, la la la. Oh, it's the Hake Report, la la la.
So, how you guys doing? I am fine. Have a nice t-shirt, jacket, nice shirt on, button-up shirt on. I wore this shirt on in July. I checked because I was like, Gregatron's always criticizing me wearing the same shirt every couple of weeks. So this is every couple months now, right? And you guys are listening to the beautiful ocean. The beautiful ocean. Shout out, guys. We need the beats, Hake. I know, I was tempted to play the original. I was tempted to play the original right afterwards, but I shan't. I shall not. Is there a ukulele version, Hake? There are various ones. Nice shirt, Hake. Thank you. I appreciate it. It has some polyester in it, though. And it's warm. Video and audio lag, says Megan. Hopefully it will correct itself. Video, audio, sync okay. 1 yes, 2 bad, 3 little iffy. Not sure. 4 here for chat. Okay. Not sure. What's up, guys? What's up, telephones hold? Hello, people over on the Rumble crew, the faithful, and of course, Facebook, the Hake Report on Facebook, oftentimes live there, usually live there. Nobody over there, but that's okay. What's up, Xenia, Dawn, Turd Flying Monkey, 45. Don't say that, kids. Crichton, A, and the rest. Let me get to a caller or two here. David in Ocala, Florida is on the line. One of our favorite young boomers here. David, thank you for calling and holding, man. What's up?
What's happening, man? I thought we had a bad connection. I was sitting there, and then all of a sudden, you said it was the ocean, and I was like, "Oh, okay."
Was it pretty loud?
Yeah, you could sort of hear it. It sort of sounded like there's a bad connection.
That's funny. Nice.
Yeah.
Glad you hung in there.
Of course. Yeah, I wanted to call you and ask you. Have you noticed these people wearing all this Black Power stuff? Have you noticed this? Like, on TV and stuff. Have you seen any?
Yeah, I have. They do this Black Power fist thing.
Right.
And they've been doing it ever since like Black Lives Matter came on the scene in the past 10 or 12 or so years. But yeah, it's become more and more out of control.
Yeah, well, I noticed that this girl was wearing these earrings the other night that said, when I was watching it the other day, and I was like, they said Black Power on them. And I was like, man, white people can't get away with this. I mean, could you imagine if some white girl was wearing White Power freaking earrings?
Yeah, I know. Yeah, and it's out of control, and it would be more sort of justified to do it too, because the kiss-up culture is anti-white. The mainstream culture is anti-white. It's nothing to anybody really to be all into the Black Power thing. Everybody kisses up to you already anyway. What do you need your silly little Black Power stuff for?
Well, I Googled it, Black Power, stuff. Anyway, and these T-shirts came up and everything, and I'm looking at these T-shirts, and one of them said, "I'm ready, Nat Turner, 1831."
That's evil.
Okay,
that's crazy.
Yeah, I know, and so I thought, what are you ready for? To take out about 180 people? Is that what you're ready to do?
Is that what Nat Turner did? He killed 100. He and his crew, his posse.
Well, he killed about 50, and then the whites or something. The retaliation was around 130.
Right. You want to start a war? That's evil.
Yeah, you're ready. It said they're so naive they don't even know what he did. I mean, anybody that would buy that shirt. But then, anyway, I found there was a Kamala shirt with the Black Power fist.
Yeah.
And here's what's interesting. There's white people wearing this stuff.
I know. It's sort of a communist Antifa fist now.
Yeah.
Black Lives Matter, Antifa, stuff like that.
Well, the news media and the Hollywood is the one that are the ones that just won't lay off this stuff,
right?
Because and y'all brought up. Remember that movie y'all were talking about a little while back, that Hidden Figures.
Yeah, I was talking about that. I watched it. It was these NASA black gals from way back in history, the 60s or something.
Yeah, well, you got the scene where Costner asked the black girl, "Where do you go every day for 45 minutes?" And she's like, "I gotta walk all the way across the world to get to the black bathroom because there's no white bathroom, and y'all don't want to drink out of the coffee cup after me. And then the next scene, you got Coster with a sledgehammer knocking down the white-only bathroom thing.
Lord.
Sign. See how they just
So you saw that movie too, huh?
it?
Or you saw that scene?
I've seen that scene. It's been on YouTube.
Okay.
For some reason.
Kevin Costner.
Yeah.
Makes me want to spit.
But, dude, they just won't let go. They won't let go of it, you know?
Yeah.
And now they're trying to jam a black woman down you people's throats.
What, you talking about Kamala Harris?
Yeah.
They couldn't find a better black woman? That's not a real black... That's... Anyway.
Whatever. But, yeah, you can't find somebody else better.
Right.
I mean, I hate to even say it. Joe Biden's better than her.
I know. It's true because he's a little bit more old school, a little bit more sensible, although he's not competent anymore, but he had some form of understanding how to... I mean, he functioned in the government for, 40 years or something like that? You have to know how to function with people on some level.
50 years.
Terrible.
You know, man, that old footage of him, he's a creep. He's a creep, you know.
You're talking about...
You know what I'm saying? He's just creepy. I mean, when he was younger, he was even creepier looking, you know. The footage of him, and you know, up there in the Senate or whatever.
What was he doing in the Senate?
Just talking.
Oh, okay.
You know?
Yeah, true. He was a...
They got fit.
He's a mess. He's always been a phony politician. Going with the flow, which shows you that he's not his own man.
Yeah, what's their new mantra? Down with deportation, up with education.
Yeah, that was a 2018, whatever it was, chant.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, it was from 2018, but they were saying down with deportation, up with education, and then they said Kamala, or something like that.
And that's from 2019 or 18?
2018, yeah.
Oh, okay, wow. Well, you know why your car insurance is doubled, right?
Because of the crime going out of control, the thefts, and the out of control drivers.
Yeah, well, they're not legally here, okay?
Okay.
So since they're not legally here, and if they hit you, you better have uninsured motorists. But there's nothing they can do to them. They can't do a thing to them. In fact, in Arizona, they won't even write them a ticket.
Wow.
Yeah, because they don't show up to court.
Yeah.
But now you got these freaks running around, running into everybody and causing all this damage. And
right.
The insurance company said, well, shoot, somebody's got to pay for it.
Right. True.
You know?
Yeah, that's a good point. I heard about that in that city, that little town, Springfield, Ohio. This one guy was complaining on TikTok. According to him, his insurance went through the roof because of these Haitian drivers. They're not like the Asian drivers. You know, Asians, if like from China and elsewhere, they're like too cautious. They will like stop and wait for you to do your left turn before they do their right turn, even though they have the right of way. But the Haitians will be... the Haitians are, according to them, very reckless. Not like the Asians. Both are kind of bad drivers, but the Haitians are much more dangerous.
Well, what's really bad about the Haitians is all that voodoo stuff that they're going to bring in over, because those animals that they're stealing and all that, they're not stealing the animals to eat them. They're stealing them to sacrifice them.
I don't know about that, but I don't know about that. That may or may not be true. But I have heard that the Haitians are not, supposedly they're a Christian country, but their type of Christianity, or they're very open to that witchy stuff, according to what I've heard.
I went on a cruise with my wife. As soon as I was walking down the stairs, in Haiti, I could feel the evil. I couldn't wait to get back on that boat, buddy.
Wow.
That's some bad stuff over there. And I was in the Bahamas before that and didn't feel anything like that, okay? But when I got to Haiti, man, it was strong. Hey, I don't know if you ever brought this up, but what do you think about women preachers?
not wise, not good. You don't want to.
No.
Yeah, you don't
right.
want to get into that. I've
Yeah.
known some women preachers, and I liked them. They're nice, but they were a bit preachy, and they get weird ideas, and it's just not fitting. It doesn't look right, and both biblically and common sense wise, it's not fitting. It's not suitable.
Yeah, yeah, and you know you're right because it's not biblical. And here's the thing: that's the one thing I disagreed with Trump about was bringing that Paula White into the White House. And
Oh,
having
yeah.
pictures of her, with him because she really doesn't preach she preaches a prosperity gospel, and that's
Okay.
what most of them do preach. Most women preachers do not preach like the death, burial, and resurrection. They preach, God wants to bless you, and He just wants you to have your best life now, and all that hocus pocus stuff.
This is Paula White, American televangelist, and she was
there's a bunch of them.
sort of
There's
a
bunch
spiritual
of them.
advisor. She's considered
a spiritual advisor.
And her last name is a hyphenated last name, Paula White -Kane.
Yeah, because she married the guy from Journey, the piano player from Journey.
Oh, really? Oh, I like her.
Mm-hmm.
No, I'm
yeah,
kidding.
they got married about 5 years ago or something like that. I don't know.
So she was what, 53 or something like that?
Jonathan Cain, yeah.
Jonathan Cain, you're right. Married in 2015.
Yeah.
Oh, nearly 10. Had been married to Randy White. Oh, okay. So she had what in the world?
Yeah.
She's the first female clergy member to deliver the invocation. At the inauguration, January 20th, 2017. Trump. He doesn't know better. He's so pro-woman. I disavow that part. Mildly attractive gal. But that's
she's
not
from
good.
the,
Married, 3 times?
Tampa, Florida area.
According to Wikipedia.
She might have started out pretty good, because she was a street preacher and stuff like that. But that money, I mean, man, she's loaded. They're loaded.
She's the one in. Oh, really? She's the one who, in the Bible Thumper Thursday, is talking about Africa right now. DLive.tv.
Angels from Africa.
Yeah,
Angels
I wonder if the people in the
right,
DLive chat are showing. Oh, come on. How come you're
that
not
was
showing?
like a long time ago.
For all.
I'm trying to show my. I bet you my DLive chat is showing the Paula White stuff. I'm 18 plus.
Somebody wrote in the chat, David's life is an 80s action movie, and that is pretty much true.
That's funny.
Yeah, it is. Listen to this, man. We got some of the best weather right now because that hurricane's coming.
Okay.
It's calm. It's real calm outside.
Nice.
Yeah, there's like no breeze. That's when that's how them Indians knew trouble was coming.
There it is. My DLive crew is coming through. This is the angels have been dispatched right now. Hot Mama, Afra, Mana, Gmacha, Baka, Chewbacca, dispatch right now.
Right.
Angels.
That's just terrible.
Yeah, that's not good.
No.
But she's cute.
I tell you, I'll leave you with this. You want to know who I will say this about black preachers. They do preach the truth, man. Them black preachers, them older ones,
Oh, you think so?
Older.
Yeah, some of them are a little bit more old school and sensible, but they still have something off about them. JLP has interviewed many black preachers since 1990, and yes, the newer ones have gotten more and more off the deep end, but even the older ones, they believed in that racism thing, and they believed in, some of them sort of defended the Democrat thing. So voting for Democrats and all that stuff. They wouldn't be for abortion. They wouldn't be for the so-called same-sex marriage. But they had some little, these little poison pills of believing in racism and being the head of your wife. Some of them were heads of their wives.
Oh, yeah. I saw the interview where the one guy wouldn't say he was the head of his wife.
Yeah. Isn't that
wasn't the head
wild?
of the household. He wussed out
Indeed, he did.
right in front of his old lady too, right there on the set.
Terrible.
Yeah. Well, it's supposed to go God, the father, the mother, the children, then the job. You know what I'm saying? But it ain't gone that way for years because of that women's movement, and that's why I brought up the women preachers, because you see, once the women's movement came out in the '60s and everything, and the birth control pill and all that, and they got all this traction. Next thing you know, they're preaching in the pulpit too. So who do you think would put them there? Okay,
Yeah,
God
right.
wouldn't, because He said don't do that. So the enemy has put these women, and they're everywhere now. Now they got these. The men oh, my wife's a pastor too. She can preach for me when I'm not preaching.
Right.
You know?
I know.
Yeah.
And these are like even conservatives, so-called, you know? Conservative white men preachers have their wives be pastors. And they're normal conservative Christian people, but and pastors and churches, but
And
they
you know why
accept it
people
as
put up
wild.
with that?
Yeah.
You know why people just go along with that? Because they don't read the Bible. And see, when I was young, I wouldn't have thought of that. But now that I'm older and everything, I realize it's bad. It's wrong, because the woman was deceived first. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah, I know. The woman is
first.
always deceived first. They're the ones who, I say always, meaning most of the time, deceived first. They fall for the,
Right.
if a child turns out gay, the mother will be the first to go along with it. It'll be hard for both of them at first, and then the mother will go with it, and then the father will follow the mother going along with it. But they'll justify it in their minds. And some of them, I argue, some of these women preacher conservative Christians do read the Bible, supposedly conservative. But some of them will be like, oh, that was for the culture back then. It wasn't God's word. It wasn't a universal, eternal principle or whatever, or forever principle. It was just for that time. He was talking about the culture back then. But now things have changed. It's 2024. So they will justify it in all kinds of crazy intellectual ways.
Well, and see, like here's something that's sort of similar to that. In Leviticus, it talks about don't seek out mediums.
Yeah.
And don't tattoo yourself or mark yourself in any way, for I'm the Lord your God. So using that woman's theology, if it's okay to get a tattoo, then it's okay to seek out mediums and practice black magic, right?
Whoa, dang. Slippery slope. The
Hardcore.
slippery slope is real. Don't let people tell you it's a fallacy. It's a fallacy in that the slippery slope, the first thing is wrong in itself, and then the worst sounding thing is also wrong. But even without the slippery slope, the first thing is wrong itself, like so-called same-sex marriage. You let them, you let them come out of the closet. You let them do the same-sex marriage. They're going to be marrying animals and multiple people and all kinds of, and children and all kinds of stuff. And that's true. But the first thing is wrong in itself. But the slippery slope is real. They're right about it.
Right. The slippery slope is real because remember, they just wanted to be accepted.
Right.
Now they're running the train. It's like this. I thought about this today. This is why black privilege is there's no such thing as white privilege. That's a joke, okay?
Uh-huh.
So there's two people applying for a job up in Seattle, Washington, okay? One's a 45-year-old white conservative male, and the other one is a black lesbian woman. Who do you think is getting the job?
Oh, well, it depends on how important the job is and how sensible the hirer is. But
you know what I'm talking about.
I totally know what you're talking about.
You know, because they don't want, they want liked people around them. Okay?
Yeah.
If you notice that. So
totally.
All right. Well, listen, man. I know you got to roll.
Thank you, man.
Pray that the hurricane doesn't hit us. You know what I'm saying?
Well, I wish you guys well. Make sure that you're taking precautions. Don't be like, oh, I'm just gonna trust the Lord. I know that's not how you roll, because you see a danger, you take precautions. But
right.
A lot of people are like, oh, the Lord will save me, or blacks will be like, oh, the government will save me, and then Katrina post-Katrina levees breaking and a bunch of,
Right.
some of them die, and then they complain about George Bush not liking black people.
Right. Right.
Crazy.
All right, man. Have a great day.
Thank you, David. Wish you well.
Hey, thank you, man.
All right.
Bye-bye.
Bye. So before I get back to calls, let us get to this stuff going on in the world. I will get to your super chats, guys. I do see them. Shout out to Gregatron and this person. Oh, Ego is real. Sam Lemons. I saw your coffee. Hang tight, guys. You want to hear this gal? Unforgivable. This woman is a bit... What's that word that's supposedly misogynistic? Shrill. This woman is shrill. And I like her, but she's a mess. She's lamenting the racism in MAGA. So-called racism, anti-Semitism. This gal, you look at that voice, look at that face. Look at that face. Come on, young lady. Using the term young a touch loosely. Batya Ungar-Sargon, opinion editor at Newsweek, author of Bad News, How Woke Media is Undermining Democracy. Woke. Woke is a liberal rhino word, okay? It's mocking the far left, so-called far left. But it's a liberal word, okay? And also second class, how the elites betrayed America's working men and women. These sound like reasonable titles for books. Books that sound like, oh, this is a reasonable woman. Opinion editor at Newsweek. Newsweek is pretty far left. Not as bad as Time magazine, of course. 3.5 million followers Newsweek has. So I don't know if she's the opinion editor. Not news editor, opinion editor, or if just an opinion editor. But she posted this on X several days back, September 13th. And look at that face. She's on this show run by a woman, this pretty gal, and writing, "It's unforgivable outrage that the current leadership of the MAGA movement are allowing racist lunatics." Lunatics? Listen to yourself, and then you talk about lunacy and lunatics and cowardice to tarnish the massive achievement. Like, it's so brave to condemn racists. Give me a break. To tarnish the massive achievement of so-called racists, right? Of bringing together a multiracial, multi-ethnic working class coalition. Class? Communist buzzword. Working class? I know JLP says working class, but he's talking about the people who are working. Meaning, like, whether you're rich or poor, so-called well-to-do or so-called poor. Nobody's poor, really. Not in America. Except for the brokies and the super brokies. United around their love for this country. So she has this idealistic thing, and she had a bunch of likes. 1,000. Okay, so here's her actual video.
How dare they squander the record numbers of black men who are planning to vote for Trump? How dare you squander that? How dare you offend those people who woke up and thought for themselves and for their families and were willing to say to, the vast majority of their community, I know what's right for my family. I mean, the outrage. It's the equivalent of the Democrats abandoning labor to cater to the college-educated elites. It is outrageous, and I do not forgive them for that, because it was such an achievement to get the majority of Hispanic voters voting for you, to have the majority of Hispanic voters saying, we're not on the side of these illegal immigrants, we're on the side of our communities and our families and this great nation that we belong to.
She sounds like a woman preacher. Speaking of woman preachers, what's funny is, like, everybody pointed out her Star of David. Apparently she's Jewish. I didn't notice that because I'm not, I disavow all noticing and I disavow that. But this is what it's like sounding And I like hearing women talk a little bit, but not when she's all amped up like this. And pardon me, I didn't mean to pause it on a bad look in her face. She's mildly attractive gal.
That we belong to. That is what the MAGA movement is. And anybody who is doing anything to turn those people off, shame on you. You have misunderstood the massive achievement of Donald Trump and Steve Bannon and other leaders who saw the opportunity to unite the working class around class lines rather than the division along racial lines that the Democrats are always feeding us. You're playing into that. You are playing the Democrats' game when you allow this kind of garbage in your party.
So she's overreacting to, I don't know who. Oh, I think I know who. She's overreacting to none other than her fellow Jewish gal who doesn't have such a shrill voice. Does Laura Loomer have a shrill voice? She's been a guest on the Jesse Lee Peterson show years ago. I sometimes confuse her voice with that of Lauren Southern, who also was on the JLP show years ago. Lauren Southern has a nice low voice. I like a deep-voiced woman. I like the high-pitched shrill voices if they're calm. Keep it calm and cool. There was a great call from a woman on the American Anchor Baby yesterday. Did you guys catch that gal on American Anchor Baby? American Anchor Baby talked about these people talking about their traumas yesterday. Joel had a good show too. He did. And this gal called in saying, I've noticed, and she had sort of a high-pitched voice, but she talked very succinctly, to the point, and said that, I forget what she said. Said that it's better not to be sharing your trauma because you're just reliving it. And then people are judging you, and then you're traumatized again, and reliving it in your imagination, of course, not actually reliving it. You're not actually living. You should be living. And that's an album name. That was me, Hake, says the woman in the chat. Try not to name drop. I try not to dox. But it was a nice point. And then Nick made a joke about, yeah, bury that trauma deep inside because it's nothing at all. What's up, Lucas? Nice to see you. Love you, Lucas. If I love anybody, indeed. What's up, man? But 1 John 4:7-8, beloved, let us not love only in word, but in deed and in truth. Something like that. That's in the Bible. It's a fact. But this gal, she's talking about playing the Democrats' game. This woman, Batya, very beautiful name, by the way. Not the most American sounding name, but it's an okay name. I like a rough name. I like a rough named woman. Like Batya Ungar-Sargon. Sounds like a sturdy woman, right? But she's talking about class warfare instead of racial warfare. Those are both communist things, aren't they? Correct me if I'm wrong. Communists, former communists. Repenters. Repentant communists. Class and race, that's both evil division. It's good versus evil, and that works inside each person. People are evil. Everybody's evil. Stop it. And I think she might even be married. lady. That and so they were reacting to Laura Loomer hanging out with Trump. She was hanging out with Trump, maybe helping him prep for the debate against cackling Kamala Harris. I don't know. Laura Loomer, who is Jewish herself. No Jew can be racist. Actually, they're the biggest crazy. They're the most anti-Jewish people. Some of them. Especially the marginally Jewish people. But Laura, she's just a normal person. She's an insurgent. Ladies, calm down. It's not a big deal. You're beside yourself, and you're playing into the phoniness. Yes, Trump is a unifier. Steve Bannon, clever guy, smart. I like him. I think he ran Breitbart and Come Under Fire for various things, and I appreciate him. Tough guy, seemingly. And I don't really have a beef with Laura Loomer. Like I said, Trump is a bit too nice to the women, for my tastes. But we already knew that about Trump. It's not a big deal. And this woman is beside herself over it. Come back. Don't be turned away, woman, young lady. Batya. Is Laura Loomer on Hake's favorite Jew list? I would put her at, is 99 already taken? I'd put her at 99. I like her. She's in the top 100. And there's a lot of Jews that I really like. So, hey, it's no knock to call her 99th favorite Jew. You know me, I like Jesus, number 1. Some of you guys say that he's not, but I say he is, whatever. Jesus, number 1, Paul, BB, JLP, Jesse Lee Peterson. I forget who all. Groucho Marx, maybe. Would you marry Loomer? That's a bit far. I don't like Harrison Ford anymore. I would put him at 101. Because Harrison Ford is too beta. He's like too openly beta. It's a shame. He never should have done that thing where... I do like that guy who played Harrison Ford's son, Han Solo's son, the bad guy in those newer things, where he talked all low in that woman's head, Ren's head, or whatever her name was. Anyway, I'm getting off topic. Shout out to you, Batya. Calm down. It's not a big deal. I don't know if you're just making a scene just to make a scene and just to try to calm these people down who are overreacting to Laura Loomer, or if you were really overreacting like that. Either way, it is just making a scene. It's just drama. These gals, calm down. It's nothing to overreact. You're getting shrill. I know that's a anti-woman word to say, is shrill. You're not supposed to say it. Partly because it's true. They tried to ban the word bossy. When a woman is getting bossy, they try to ban you from saying bossy, like 10 years ago. Ban bossy. Ban the word bossy. Don't call women bossy. When a man speaks, it's authoritative. When a woman speaks, quote unquote, authoritatively, says the same things, it's bossy. Because the spirit is different. And it's just not fitting. Newsflash, men and women are different. And they have different roles. All puffed up on your ego. And you accuse men of having the ego. You have this crazy ego. And yeah, men got to get over it too, but just relax. But good job being a new opinion editor. Newsweek, hey. Could be leading you down the wrong road, though, with this worldly, quote-unquote, success, you know? Stressing yourself out over dumb stuff. writing these mediocre, halfway reasonable, or 1/3 reasonable books about woke media undermining democracy and the elites betraying America's working men and women. Nice. Anyway, good for you, lady. All right. Let's talk about that love thing, shall we? Before I get back to calls, since I brought it up. Unforgivable. 1 John, I forget whether it was 1 or 2 or 3. My little children, he says, I write these things to you that ye sin not, so that you do not sin. But of course, there are some sinners who still come to church and they're seeking. So if any does sin, we have an advocate, Jesus Christ, the righteous. Isn't that nice? Propitiation. I guess that means like sacrifice for our sins or something like that. Keep his commandments. Love one another. Blah, 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 blah. Pardon me for saying blah, blah, blah to the Bible. I'm just can't read the whole thing to you, okay? Love not the world, nor the things in the world. If any man loves the world, the love of the Father is not in him. Boom. Boom, in your face. In whose face? All that's in the world, the lust of the flesh, the lust of the eyes, the pride of life is not of the Father. So that gal, all into her accomplishments, if she is, don't love that. That's not of the Father. Pride of life. The world passes away and the lusts thereof, but he who does the will of the Lord abides forever. Interesting, huh? Sorta. What's that mean? Abides forever. Acknowledge the Son. If you acknowledge the Son, you have the Father too. Jesse Lee Peterson, by the way, acknowledges the Son, but people are like, oh, he doesn't say Jesus is God, therefore he's not a real Christian. Lamos, blind people. Why did I star this one or note this one? Oh, yeah, the anointing which you've received of him, anointing, I think that means the Holy Spirit, abides in you, and you do not need that any man teaches you. But as the same anointing teaches you all things, like Jesus said, the Holy Spirit will guide you in all things, and is truth, and is no lie. Even as it has taught you, you shall abide in him. And now abide in him, that when he appears, blah, 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 blah. Oh, where's that part that I saw? Hold on. Word. It might be in... Hey, here it is. I have written you, fathers, because you have known him who is from the beginning. I have written you, young men, because you are strong, and the word of God abides in you. Boom! The word of God abides in you. People are like, it's only the Bible. It's not in you. They're basically denying the Holy Spirit. And you have overcome the wicked one. Isn't that nice? See, I started at the wrong spot. That's 1 John 2:14 through whatever. Pretty cool, huh? And speaking of where it was that because Lucas in the chat asked Hake, do I love him? And he loves me, bro. It might be in here. Love. I want to say that it might be here. This might be here. This is pretty cool. I'll just start from 10. This is 1 John 3, talking about no sinning, no more sinning. You can't sin anymore if you're born of God. But we'll skip that because I've been over that many times, and you guys probably know it, or you could look it up yourself. Whoever is born of God does not commit sin. In this, the children of God are manifest, and the children of the devil, Whoever does not righteousness is not of God, nor is he that does not love his brother. I'm saying, it says loveth not his brother, but I'm trying to put it in normal present day English. This is the message you heard from the beginning, that we should love one another, not as Cain, who killed Abel, right? Who was of that wicked one, and slew his brother, meaning killed his brother. And wherefore he slew him, because his own works were evil and his brothers were righteous, like they're trying to kill Trump. Because their works are evil and Trump's is righteous, except for Paula White and maybe Laura Loomer. We know that we have passed from death to life because we love the brothers. He who does not love his brothers abides in death. Whoever has this world's good and sees his brother has need and shuts up his bowels of compassion from him. Pardon me for laughing at the word bowels. That means guts, intestines. How dwells the love of God in him? My little children, let us not love in word, say, oh, I love you. Shout out to the people who say that. Neither in tongue, but in deed and in truth. That's why men and fathers don't be like, I'm talking black. Men and fathers don't say, I love you all the time. That's woman stuff, because they don't actually love you. Only in tongue. I love you. That's women. But in deed and in truth. Isn't that nice? Pardon all these crazy ads. Here we know we are of the truth and shall assure our hearts before him, because if our hearts condemn us, God's greater than our heart and knows all things. Believe in the name of his Son, Jesus Christ, and love one another. Boom! In your face. Whose face? The brothers whom I love, allegedly. Shout out. That's John 1 John 2 and 3. It's a relatively short book. It's cool. Right on. Right on. I have some calls to get to and some super chats, guys. Let's get to Sam in Miami, Florida. Been on hold for quite some time. Thank you for holding there, Sam. How you doing?
Not too shabby. Obi-Wan.
Hey.
The George Lucas version.
Oh, the first one, the old guy.
No, the one where when Ewan McGregor didn't turn into a total beta when he was with the Anakin.
Oh, okay. I
think that's the coolest one.
All right.
That's a compliment.
Nice.
Hey, I will owe you a couple cups of coffee. I wanted to give a shout out to Jesus and my wife. I love you, Knuckles. And getting back to why I called, I really wanted to thank you for that tough, I guess you'd call it tough love, when I called in and you're like, you're a name dropper and
yeah.
You've got to stop telling everybody what you're doing, your plans and all that. So then I went to that Trump rally, and I'm sorry I was all hopped up on like Red Bull and coffee and
whoa,
because it's a lot of driving. Yeah. So
be careful with that Red Bull. They say, there was a guy. There was this.
I don't drink it much, but
okay. There was this guy who died.
There was
this. Let me interrupt you briefly to say there was this guy who died, Kevin Samuels. He was black, relatively young, didn't look unhealthy either. Had glasses, talked tough, told factual, true things, but he died at a young age, like in his 50s. And I spotted a little clip of him sipping on a Red Bull, and I'm like, wonder if that contributed possibly, or the whatever lifestyle, maybe not enough rest, or maybe the caffeine or taurine or whatever is in the Red Bull. Just a fair warning to us all. Anyway, go ahead. Continue.
Sounds good.
Yeah.
Yeah. My wife, she's very healthy, and she has definitely told me to lay off those. But anyhow, back to this. So I was on my way. I don't know if you remember. You get a lot of calls. I was on my way to the Trump rally, and you said all that stuff, and I was like, that kind of hurt my feelings. And then I thought, wait a minute, that's a beta thing to think.
Right.
So I really thought about it. Yeah, and I thought, I do name drop. And when I had that discovery, it's at the Trump rally, right? So I'm press, and kind of low-level press, but still got the press pass and all that stuff. So I didn't have to wait in the big, long line, even though I wasn't on the list. I BS'd my way through that. I get all the way to the press box. I'm interviewing some of the main, donators. They got their names on their seats. And, I just kind of have this way of getting in places where I really don't belong. Nothing illegal, but...
Right.
And so this woman taps me on the shoulder, and she's like, why don't you have one of our special press passes, right?
Yeah.
And I'm looking at all of the, what do you call them? The Secret Service guys. And now I don't know any of them. So I hope they're good ones. And I'm not name dropping because I barely knew any of them at that time.
Good.
But, they're just kind of mingling in and out. And this woman was so nasty to me because it's right after the Matt Walsh movie, the Am I Racist?
Right.
That's out in theaters. Great movie. Just a side note here, the Daily Wire sent me a screener so I could do a write-up on it. And,
Man, get to your point. I have to keep it
Okay.
moving.
Yeah, you got to keep going. That other guy kind of sucked the air out of the room, but I'm learning how to be patient. So anyway, back to it. So this woman comes up and she's like, you don't belong here. And she had me trespassed because I kind of stand out in the crowd, and they were concerned, I think, because I was recording the whole thing.
Yeah, and then you didn't even really belong there. Wow.
I didn't. So that's not the good part. So anyway, she gets the cops to escort me out because they thought that I was retaliation for that movie.
Wait,
so
why
I'm
did...
like, thanks a lot.
Oh, wow, interesting.
I'm like, thanks a lot, Matt Walsh, because here I am with a crappy press pass, and I'm not on the list, and so they thought I was just baiting those people, and I wasn't. I'm pro-Trump all the way.
I know.
I cleared it all up with them, but
nice.
And they didn't actually write up my trespass. They just said, get out.
Oh, cool.
So I did.
Nice.
And I'm like, am I on any weird list? They said, no, you just can't come back. All right. So anyway, that's out of the way. Then I go to the border. All my equipment doesn't work. I get terrible audio for that doc. I remembered what you said. Stop bragging about things.
Yeah.
Just do them. Let them happen organically. It's fun. It's more fun that way. So you taught me a lot of lessons on that trip.
Oh, nice.
So thank you so much for that.
Yeah. Cool.
I'm going to start calling your show more and maybe have quicker conversations because I'm learning how to embrace the irritating.
Yeah.
As I said, and sitting on hold, because I've sat on hold for Jesse Lee Peterson, I just try to listen to the callers and not get too annoyed because I'm sure people, when I say things, they don't like it. But everything's going good, man. I got this project I'm working on. I'm not going to say what it is.
Right on.
I want to see my wife has told me that too.
Cool.
Is, hey, get it going and then, get some interest in it and then release it to the world.
If you ever have a question or comment, you're welcome to call, man. I appreciate it.
Well, you're a good man, and your show is hilarious, and I like that you give people a little more time to talk.
Nice.
There's not as many commercials. So, yeah, I like watching you guys, your careers take off. Nick's doing great.
Indeed.
I used to drunk dial him for show ideas.
Whoa.
And, yeah, I know. They were pretty good ones, but, late at night, hey, Nick, why don't you have this on your show next? He's such a good guy.
Yeah.
But, yeah, you guys are really awesome, and okay, I'll let you get to the next one.
Thank you, man.
I wanted to tell you all that. Yeah,
appreciate
thank you
that. Yeah,
very much.
Definitely.
Say hi to the whole gang.
Will do.
All right.
Bye.
Bye.
And William in California on the line here. William, thank you for calling. How you doing, man?
Hey, James.
Hey.
Hey, James, how you doing?
Doing fine, thank you.
Good. Just wanted to let you guys know that the terrorists that orchestrated the bombing of the Marine Corps barracks over in Beirut in '84, I think it was Sunday or Saturday. I don't know which day it was. It was just a few days ago. The IDF actually killed him.
Way back from 1984?
Talk about being on the run for
40 years ago.
Yeah, well, is that the wheels of the law turning slow but still turning?
Yeah, I guess so. Well, good for them. I'm glad
They
that got through.
Guess they did us a favor with that one. I mean, that's like, I think it was like 240.
Come close to your phone so you come through loud and clear.
I think it was 240 Marines killed in that, along with about 20 or 30 Lebanese civilians. That was a pretty big one.
Wow.
But they got him.
Okay.
They got him.
Nice. Well, congratulations to them. Sorry about the civilians. That's what happens in war. God. That's what happens in war, and that's why I appreciate Trump, because he wants peace.
Yeah.
Not all this war.
Yes. Right.
Well, that's one of the reasons I appreciate Trump.
Shout out to the Israelis. Hey, that guy's been on the run for 40 years.
That's crazy.
And they got him, and he was actually his command center. He was planning another attack in northern Israel. And when this went down, and
that's according to the government. That's according to the Israeli government.
Mm-hmm. Right. So the intelligence is pretty strong. Those guys are pretty slick.
Okay.
Yeah. Hey, Dick Van Dyke is 98 years old, and he had to cancel an event up in Utah, up in Salt Lake City. He's kind of getting to the point where he's no longer able to travel and everything. Just wanted to acknowledge old Dick Van Dyke.
Yeah, I always, he was a Bernie Sanders supporter, so it's kind of cringy.
Yeah.
But I really appreciated him in Mary Poppins and
his work.
Yeah, his TV show was kind of fun, and he's kept fit, and I respect that aspect of him.
Sure, he did. He's 98. He's almost 99 years old. That's time flies, doesn't it?
Yeah. Dick Van Dyke.
Him and Mary Tyler Moore, all those people. Yeah, he took care of himself pretty good over the years.
Yep, indeed.
Right.
That's cool.
Right. You were talking about Springfield again. I think Vivek was there last weekend.
Ramaswamy?
Yeah, they were talking in the town hall. So, researching that little town, like I said, it's not a big place. It's pretty modest, and working people trying to keep their property up and everything. And
right,
they've been totally overwhelmed.
Is it so bad that a town is shrinking? It's not necessarily a bad thing, because that town was shrinking in population. The opportunities were not there so much. It will stabilize. You don't have to do an influx, but I feel like the people in the city government there were greedy and selfish and egotistical to want to bring in these people, feel important, get more money, because they're giving government, probably federal money for all these migrants, maybe, I don't know.
Like we were talking about, correct.
Yeah. Correct. And then also the migrants, some of them will work and bring in more money. Some of them will buy things and bring in more money, but they're also causing a lot of problems, and they're changing the culture for the worse. So.
And then they turn around and say it's not a problem. Those are probably more than likely the people who are involved with it. Yeah. Somebody's definitely getting their palms rubbed.
Could very well be. Yeah.
Because
they're getting money.
They said if you try to get a hotel in that area, the migrants, the illegals will come to the door and say, "Go away.
Yeah.
You have no business here." And in the driving thing, that's what really brought it. Wasn't the ducks eating? It wasn't really that. It was the destruction, the driving that these people do. They have some of the weirdest accidents, cars upside down and, cars in the tree. And how do you have these kind of accidents? But if you look at Haiti on YouTube, I know, check this out.
Uh-huh.
Go look at some footage of Haiti and show me a traffic light.
Yeah, right. I mean, that's a fair point.
I've never seen a traffic light, not even a stop sign in Haiti. But I thought you were giving illegals driver's license.
They are. Just handing them out. And then in some states like California, when you get a driver license, you're automatically signed up to vote. So how are they going to stop that from happening? Maybe they have some measures in place, supposedly. But there have been cases where people have driver licenses because they give illegals driver's licenses. And a lot of times. I know it was a big deal in L.A. 10, 12, 15 years ago. And, and I heard that they caught some, they did like a review of the voter rolls and found a whole bunch of people who were not even citizens on the voter rolls in some state. I thought I heard that. I don't know. I haven't.
Well, definitely California. That keeps them in office.
Shenanigans.
At one time, I heard it was that they could not vote on a federal level, national level, but they could. That's definitely what's keeping a lot of the California politicians where they are.
Yeah,
because they allow them to vote, they allow them to get driver's license. And about 20 years ago, I got hit by one, and just out of nowhere, got hit, and then the guy just drove away. Now, that was the weirdest thing in the world. I was like, why would somebody... First of all, how did you hit me? And then on top of that, and then just drive away, calmly just drive away. Well, I didn't know at the time. I didn't really realize at the time. He's probably undocumented.
Yeah. Crazy.
Yeah.
Meaning meaning documented, but illegal. Because there's some form of documentation on these people.
Mm-hmm.
Just not the legal documents for going through the proper channels and waiting list and all that stuff.
Yeah.
For proper immigration. Legal immigration. What a mess.
Legal. And in other words, the cost. Basically is
a big cost and waiting game. A whole lot of people have jumped through all those hoops, and all these people skip the line and they get rewarded for it. So evil.
That's not fair to the people that wait.
I know. And it's not fair to us, the Americans, either. Somebody points out that it's white erasure. They're changing the demographics of the country.
That's simply not fair. That is just not fair. As a matter of fact, that's just like this thing that they keep shooting down with Biden keeps losing this battle with the student loan thing. Well, what about the people that paid their student loan?
Yeah.
And you're making all of these degrees are starting to become worthless.
They really are. It's a shame. It's evil. They're worse than worthless. They are counterproductive. They're brainwashing people. You're getting a little bit of value because you do learn some things that are of some worldly value, but there's a whole lot of worldly false wisdom pushed on you too, and young people swallow that stuff up. So it's crazy.
I mean, don't you think that the degree is? I wouldn't say worth. Maybe let's not say worth. Let's just say it knocks the value out of the degree.
Big time.
Let any and everybody in these colleges and universities that are really not really qualified to be there, actually, because if you take up liberal arts 4 years for $100,000 loan. That don't think there's too much value in that degree.
Fair enough. Yeah.
Yeah.
Interesting, man.
Yeah. Just wanted to throw that out there.
Appreciate it.
You have a good show. Your show has really been good, James. You really crack me up when Joe comes on. You start smiling and everything, and then you get your puppets and everything. He is part of your show.
He
You've
totally
been knowing
is.
Joe a long time.
Yep. Indeed.
You've been knowing Joe for a long time, and when you two get together, it is kind of funny.
I gotta
like
watch out for these snakes. It's like the serpent in the garden. God allowed the serpent in the garden have to watch out for the enemy. And it's not that Joe is the enemy. It's just that he's just driven by something that is evil. And
it's just funny
it's not
because
personal.
You start laughing and blushing when he comes on because you know you too. It's you.
Indeed.
Too. You guys. Yeah.
That's a fact. Two devils fighting. It often tends up being.
Yeah, you guys. Yeah.
Terrible.
But I do like the fact that you are paying more attention to the current events.
Thank you, man.
And kind of weeding out the caller spatting, and that, in my opinion, doesn't really make it that interesting. It's a little entertaining at first, but then after a while, it gets old.
Yeah, and it's evil too. Thank you, William.
It's called the Hake Report, right?
That's right. Yeah, not the Hake drama.
Not the Hake reality show.
Right.
Yeah.
Thanks,
All right,
man.
Take it easy, James.
All right. You as well. Bye.
All right.
Anthony, caller out of California on the line here. Anthony wants to correct the record. What's up, man?
Oh, what's up, Hake? How you doing, sir?
Doing well.
Good. No, I just want to make a comment on the Kevin Samuels Red Bull. You know, I was watching quite a few of his videos over the past years, and dude, he has a Red Bull in almost every single video he does.
Wow.
It's pretty wild. So when you said that, I was like, wow, I'm not the only one thinking like either, because he was young and healthy, man. He was doing good work.
Yeah.
And I don't know what it is about these Red Bulls, but on a similar note, when it comes to like prescribed stimulants or like antidepressants or anything like that, I don't think people know this, but if you get prescribed those, you can't join the army or the military or any branch of the government because you won't clear the background exams.
Wow.
So just when you look at numbers showing like, you know, there's all-time low recruitment rates for the military
because they're getting turned away in part because they're on pot or whatever, or antidepressants or, you know, meds. A lot of kids are on meds, that type of thing.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. Any of those meds, you have to be off them for at least 3 years before you could actually apply. And if you do apply, you'd have to have a medical waiver.
Wow.
Which takes many years to approve. Yeah. So it's really interesting.
It totally is.
Yeah, because you would think if you were to get prescribed those medications, you should know. Like, no one told me when I was prescribed antidepressants when I was on them. Hey, you can't join any branch of the government, any part of law enforcement, or maybe some local law enforcement you can. But they just it's pretty wild. I don't know how the future of our military will look given the increase in those prescriptions. Anyways, that's all I want to say. Hey, appreciate the show, man.
Yeah, of course. It reminds me of the Second Amendment. You know how they how based Beau Biden, not Joe Biden, but Beau Biden, the son, was on drugs, and he said, "No, I'm not on drugs," when he was doing the background check to buy his handgun, and
no way.
And so I bet you that they're going to try to take away, if they haven't already, the Second Amendment, the basic right to carry guns from anybody who's on any prescription. Mental type of prescription.
I didn't even think about that.
It's like a trap to like
what is
that thing? Disenfranchise everybody of their Second Amendment. Because they got everybody on those things. Wild, huh?
Yeah. I didn't even think of that angle actually, because the U.S. government, I mean, at least for military, they have a software that they use, and it will literally import all pharmacy visits, all psychological visits, all psychiatric care, and they'll see it. So and that's new. That's like 2021. I believe it's called like Genesis or something like that. But now that you mention that, I'm pretty sure. Wow, that's there's a lot of potential in what you're saying, Hake. It's that's actually not a good thing, man.
Yeah, the government's creepy. Keep the pills and government out of your life as much as you can. Crazy.
Yeah, that's wild. Dang, Hake. Anyways, appreciate the time, sir.
Yeah, thank you for the info. That's wild, man, about Kevin Samuels and the Red Bull. Thanks again,
Dude.
Anthony, man.
Of course, Hake. Take care, sir.
All right, bye. Wow. We're past the top of the hour. Before I get back to calls, I got to do some super chats over on buymeacoffee.com. And let me do the Streamlabs first. Gregatron says, great show, great little network. Can you give a third of this to Joel Friday TV report show and a third to the great Mexican hope, Nick, thanks, says Gregatron. Much grass, Gregatron. Indeed I can. Will I? It remains to be seen. But thank you, sir. Appreciate that. Thank you for the tip. For the 3 network hosts. Did you catch Punchy TV? I think I read this one from Popcorn Stump Keg. Yeah. About people being let out of mental institutions. Sam bought a coffee. Remember to worship the creator, not the created. James Hake. Well said, Brad. Amazing show Friday with all the people trying to chip in on the Marvin Gaye info. Coming from someone who's studied his music and life ever since I was knee-high. No one knew what they were talking about, minus the guy who said What's Going On album was one long song. Oh, wow. And those Tupac lyrics you quoted yesterday came from the song Life Goes On. 'Cause life goes on. Last year we poured out liquor for you. This year, Inga, life goes on. Salud. So says Sam Lemons. Thank you, sir. Or ma'am. If it is a ma'am, it could be a ma'am. Sam, short for Samantha. It's a nice, I like a gal named Sam. It's kind of cute. Nice. Thank you. But I did find it interesting. I found it exceptionally interesting about Marvin Gaye singing about we don't need to fight anymore. And then what does he do? He gets in a fight with his dad and gets himself killed. His dad kills him. That part is true. Whatever, even if whatever. Nice. And that was a point brought by the great Michael in Canada. Or Mike, if you prefer. Ego is Real says, did you read about St. Louis police officer being killed by illegal DUI? I did not. Pardon my gasp. My mouth-breathing gasp. Does the officer look like Joel? Whoa. I dain't check. Dare not. How do you do? This is from the Gateway Pundit. I've heard of this website before. Used to check it as years ago. Update. Documents reveal illegal alien. So documents reveal. So that means he is documented. This illegal alien is documented. Who killed the police officer allegedly. David Lee had a long criminal record, including endangering a child, assault, and DUI. What's up with these illegals? Look, it's a Whitezican. He looks like Hake, except tougher looking. And more Asian, which is to say American Indian. And here, it does look a little bit like Joel. Didn't that look like a little bit like Joel Friday? Joel Friday lives. Rest in peace, young Edward. There's a heaven full of beasts, full of peace. for a G. Officer David Lee killed by illegal immigrant from Honduras. Who knew that Honduras? I knew a Honduran. The Mexicans do not like the Hondurans. Or the Salvadorians, but I think they like the Hondurans even less. Or maybe it's just personalities in my limited experience, and they just chalk it up to that. Ramon, Chavez hyphen Rodriguez. Chavez Rodriguez. Chavez hyphen Rodriguez. Look at him. That's a tough looking guy. But that's not good. Not so tough that he couldn't get along without drinking. Thank you for this tip, sir. Or is it ma'am? Ego is real. It does look like Joel Friday TV. I didn't know about this. Sunday morning, St. Louis community was struck with grief and anger. Don't be angry. As Officer David Lee, black, 18-year veteran, 18 years of the St. Louis PD, killed in the line of duty after stopping to assist a motorist on I-70, Interstate 70. Or if you were in California, we would call it the 70, because we call it the 605, the 5, the 10, the 210, the 91, the 105, the 110. Anyway, the tragic incident occurred around 8:30 in the morning. Now spotlighted not only for the loss of a dedicated officer. Oh, come on. Sorry. Pardon me. I'm tempted to counter-signal the notion that a black officer could be dedicated. Black officers can be dedicated too. I've heard about some black officers, though. They're more liable to cry racism and all that stuff on the police force. They can be a mess. But anyway, that's irrelevant. It's probably inappropriate even to bring up at this point, because this is about hating the illegals, not the blacks. No, we don't hate anybody. We love everybody, including the illegals, and shout out to the blacks as well. Also, for the deepening crisis surrounding illegal immigration and soft on crime policies championed by the left. Cover your eyes, kids. I thought I saw an inappropriate advertisement on this far left rhino outlet, the Gateway Pundit blog. Officer Lee was tending to traffic safety, rummaging through his vehicle's trunk for cones to protect motorists. A speeding SUV driven by a 24-year-old Raymond A. Chavez Rodriguez struck his vehicle from behind, per Fox 2 Now. Cover your eyes right now. Chavez Rodriguez, illegal with a disturbing criminal history. Here, I'll hide myself so you don't have to see that. Criminal history, was reportedly intoxicated at the time of the crash. Blood alcohol level taken 2 hours after the fatal crash was revealed to be a 10.10. Well above the legal limit, which is 0.08, I guess. 70-year-old grandma. Oh. What makes this tragedy more infuriating, this is Jim Hoft, for many is the fact Chavez Rodriguez's history of domestic violence, DV, communist buzzword, anti-man buzzword, and previous DUI arrests, meaning he had trouble with the wife. Well, he hyphenated his last name. So maybe he was born that way, with a hyphenated last name. Should not have been in the country in the first place. Exactly. That's the most obvious thing. Shouldn't have been in the country in the first place, and he had a history of crime, alleged. Previous DUI arrests, fighting with the wife or the woman, presumably woman. Yet due to lax immigration enforcement, enforcement. You don't need a bill. You don't need a bill to enforce the law. oh, Trump blocked a bill from going through from a conservative. I heard that James Lankford in supposedly conservative Oklahoma is a rhino. There are lamos from Texas, so I wouldn't be surprised if this James Lankford guy is a total rhino. And negligent border security policies led by Democrats and their so-called borders are cackling Kamala Harris. Violent criminals, allegedly. I mean, his girlfriend was violent, and he's dumb enough to stay with her. Or whatever's going on with Chavez Rodriguez. Been in and out of the justice system, so-called, since 2020. Endangering the welfare of a child, one of the charges. DWI, driving while intoxicated, or driving under the influence, DUI. Still on probation for his prior assault charge. If you were on probation, it would be for a conviction, right? I don't know. And included an attempt to strangle a mother and endanger a child in a drunk driving incident. Ugh. Well, his life is a mess. 24 years old, down the drain. How good is it to be an illegal in America now? Not so good for you. We wish him well. Look at this. Jane Duiker, local St. Louis attorney, published several tweets on previous arrests. Cop killer. Calling him a cop killer. He didn't mean to. That's not fair to call him a cop killer. I mean, technically, he had a prior DUI, so they call that murder a lot of times, if he was convicted of that prior DUI. It's considered a murder, outright murder, if you drink and drive a second time and kill somebody. Woo. So, how are you going to call him undocumented? He's quite documented. He is so documented, you should have known to send him back. Or throw him in the slammer. And his life would be better because he wouldn't have killed somebody. And now he has that mess. Crazy, huh? Shout out to Ego is Real for the tip. Hake doesn't hear anything about such things because Hake only reads the morning updates from CNN, and they don't tell me this stuff. Barbecue Pringle bought a coffee. Hey, in the Old Testament, God says no man can pay for another man's sin. Each man has to pay for his own sin. Deuteronomy. God also said the sacrifice of a son for the payment of sin is an abomination. He would never do it. Ezekiel. What do you make of this? Going on your word, that sounds like you're suggesting that Christ can't, in the New Testament, Christ was not allowed to, his own son wasn't allowed to pay for our sins? Or does that mean that Joel Friday's got the wrong idea? Speaking of that, Joel Friday's coming up soon. Let me set the redirect for you guys before I get back to calls and things. Day TV. Daddy Government is what Joel Friday is coming on next. Interesting, Barbecue Pringle. I used to not like barbecue. I used to dislike barbecue flavor. Sometimes I still do, but I've grown up a little bit. I'm taking your word for it. It doesn't say no man can. It says that the child shall not suffer for the sins of the father, nor the father for the sins of the son. It doesn't say no man can pay for another man's sin. Exactly. You know, animals paid for it, right? So Jesus was like the sacrificial lamb. And I don't know about sacrifice of Ezekiel. Give me a little bit more specific, Barbecue Pringle, and thank you for your coffee. Send me an email or tweet at me. Tweet at me, bro, or truth at me. I don't check my Truth Social. And you can edit your coffees, by the way. Some of you guys buy extra coffees. You can edit your coffee to give me if you can give me the chapter and verse on the Ezekiel and Deuteronomy. But I'm suggesting that I make of it that you may be, I don't know, it sounds like you're saying Christ can't pay for our sins. Is that what you're saying? Or are you, I don't know. Because God had Abraham play like he was going to sacrifice Isaac, his son. Where's the lamb? The Lord will provide. Where's the lamb, Dad? The Lord will provide. And then he tied him up. He's about to get him. And the angel said, no. He caught his hand. Stop. Stop, Abraham. You are faithful. Anyway, whatever. I don't know. And he would never do it. Yeah, but God isn't sacrificing his son for his own sins. I don't know, Barbecue Pringle. Maybe God can do it when we can't. Because we would be playing God if we would be like, sorry, Hake Jr., you got to pay for my sins. Or you got to pay for the sins of the world. No, only God can do that. Deuteronomy. Thank you, Barbecue Pringle. Very, some pretty thought-provoking. I don't know. You may not be saying it right. Whoa! And another one from Popcorn Thump Keg. There's a fairly high-profile death penalty case in Missouri happening at the moment. A man named Marcellus Williams scheduled to be executed today. Whoa. For a crime in which he maintains innocence. Questions about the evidence. I haven't read a lot about it, but it made me think about a coffee I sent you about your stance on the death penalty that I wanted to revisit. First, why are you in favor of it, the death penalty? From a biblical perspective, how did God punish Cain for killing Abel? He just banished him. He didn't give him the death penalty, but he did prescribe the death penalty for murderers, I think. But he didn't. Yeah, I'm for it because it is biblical. You kill, they don't wield the sword for nothing. Not sure why my trackpad is all of a sudden not working. There we go. There we go. Second, what margin of error are you comfortable with in carrying out the death penalty? 1 out of 100, 1 out of 1,000? That's sort of a made-up name. That's sort of made up, man. That's sort of made up. Are you talking about, what do you mean by margin of error? If you concede the system isn't perfect but are still okay with the death penalty, you have to be okay with some margin of error. If not, and you say we need to perfect it, what happens in the meantime? No executions? You bring up an interesting point. Now the government's liberal. There is no justice in the justice system. Maybe you can find some instances in which they accidentally do justice, or there's some just judges, but the justice system is almost wholly corrupt. The people are corrupt. The judges are corrupt, the lawyers are corrupt, the juries are corrupt, the prosecutors are corrupt, the public defenders are corrupt, the private defenders are corrupt, the juries, like I said, are corrupt. It's worth repeating. Duly note that the juries are corrupt, triply note it. So maybe I am not for the death penalty anymore. So that part, I'm with you. I'm with you, man, because the liberals have taken it over. And they want to execute the whites and the men. And they're doing a whole lot of kangaroo courts. It's pretty crazy. But what do you mean by margin of error? Like an error in the conviction? Because let's say, I don't know, Ethan Crumbly. If Ethan Crumbly is known, like there's no question, he did it. And if that's a capital offense, he should get the capital punishment. Or, people like that. There's no question that how how do you numericalize it? How do you put that as, oh, there's a 1 in 1,000th chance that Ethan Crumbley didn't do it. How do you come up with that number? How do you come up with any number? You're a math guy and you're thinking about did or didn't do. It's either did or didn't do, like we know he did it, or we don't know that he did it. I know that there's cases in which you're pretty sure, beyond a reasonable doubt. Anyway. A lot of times they say, oh, there are questions about the evidence, which is sort of a meaningless statement, truly. A lot of times blacks will, this sounds like a black name, Marcellus Williams. I'm not saying anything about his case. I have no idea. But I know that in general, a lot of times blacks will cry innocent when other blacks will cry innocent when they're not because of the black thing. And a lot of people maintain their innocence. I am innocent. So, but I don't know that case. And I'm not for when there's a reasonable doubt executing the guy. I'm not for convicting the guy when there's a reasonable doubt. But blacks are unreasonable with their doubts. Many times. Many times. But yeah, I'm with you on this thing since the government is so corrupt and the courts and the people. I just don't see the point in it. It seems like revenge. You can't let someone out of jail. You can't undo it. You can let someone out of jail. You can't undo an execution. But no, it's not revenge. It's justice. The people who are doing it out of revenge, like Loretta Lynch seeking the death penalty against the white guy who did the church shooting, I think that seemed like revenge because it's an anti-white motivated thing. Oh, hate crime. Like the feds have any say. The feds have no say. They just usurped the authority from the local government and from the men of the town to decide to decide dispassionately that he deserves a death penalty or not death penalty. You know, the guy who with the bowl cut, Dylan Storm Roof, 2 N's in Dylan. The guy who shot up the church in Carolina 10 years ago. Was it 10 years ago? No, it should be dispassionate. It should be a man is dispassionate in meting out proper justice and proper, I'm doing like a spanking signal or a whipping thing. Discipline. It is not out of passion or revenge or anger. That's why I don't like the victim statements that they do nowadays in these courts. It's so out of place. Or these judges preaching. Women judges preaching. Have you seen that stuff? It's out of control. It's ridiculous. In many of those cases, it's total revenge. And that's not good to throw somebody in jail unjustly and preach at them with all this phony Me Too stuff and anti-man stuff and anti-white stuff. It's ridiculous. Pardon my nose sniffing. Pretty interesting. But yeah, the Bible even prescribes death penalty for certain, murder, maybe even R word, ape ray. Or rape. Shout out to Scarecrow's Garage. Interesting. Hopefully I'm caught up on that. Nice. Thank you, Popcorn Stump K. Hopefully that's satisfactory. I'm still worried about how I'm going to distribute this Joel Friday TV report show and Great Mexican Hope Nick, their stuff. Lord, have mercy. Justin in California on the line here. Justin, how you doing? Let me show myself. Go ahead, Justin. How you doing?
Oh, good morning. Thanks for taking my call.
Yeah, of course.
I was wondering, can it be possible for one to have anger and yet not have violence?
Yeah, a lot of women do it. a lot of people are angry, but not outwardly, physically violent necessarily. They provoke violence and they get a high off of that. That's where they get their satisfaction, rather than being physically violent. Definitely.
Who gets angry the most? Women, or like violent, or like non-violent people? Who gets angry the most?
Man, I don't know.
Okay.
Maybe violent people sometimes, because they just, they have a short fuse, so they get outwardly, visibly angry the most. But that's kind of like a comparing people, and you don't. That's kind of a trap. It sounds like. What prompts you to ask this? It's an interesting question.
Because I've never been accused of being like an angry person to the point of violence, and someone thought I was violent, and I guess it was in my speech. So is that possible then, to be violent in your speech and not in your action, if you're not threatening anyone or cursing or saying things in a very violent tone? Is there something there that someone's right? I could be violent.
It sounds like it. Was it a liberal calling you violent in your speech? Because that's often like a liberal word to call people's speech violent.
It was a liberal, yeah.
Now there may be there may or may not be any truth to that. Like check yourself whether you were vicious in your statement or backhanded. Like kind of backhandedly slapping them, metaphorically speaking, with your mocking tone or some sort of viciousness. I've said the word vicious in their in your words, like the spirit behind it. But no, I think that they're talking crazy. But do always check yourself and watch yourself, how you're reacting both to their accusation of that, and in the first place, how you were when the spirit that you came from when you said whatever you said that made them say that to you.
Okay, yeah, because I would think that if somebody is, being violent to me, then that might be a time that I can unleash some sinfulness of violence I have inside of me. But yeah, I've just been thinking on this because someone accused me of that, and I had wanted to see if their perception was valid. And then, so to me, if someone gets something that they view as violent, they're just reaping what they sow, because they literally wouldn't let you be nice and stay calm and just get along with them. And when you let it out, they all of a sudden, if someone's trying to poke at you, they're going to feel the violence. But other than that, I was just very confused about that term.
Yeah. It's not necessarily justified. It's not justified to react poorly to somebody treating you poorly, though.
Right.
Yeah, it's justified to defend yourself, of course, but not defend your ego, just to protect your body and whatever, and get away from this situation. And maybe knock them down, but then back off immediately. Knock them down righteously, dispassionately, not with a satanic devil, whatever.
Okay.
Because otherwise, you're gonna get you want to stay clear of that. Otherwise, you do something foolish and catch yourself charged.
Yeah, and as far as I understand, violence is the only thing you could be charged for, but anger or maybe aggression or hatred that's verbalized could be just that. That's just an emotion. But I would think violence would be a lot more directed, to the deed of doing something.
Right.
Okay. Well, thanks for that. I just wanted to see if I was thinking clearly on that part, and your advice is that your advice about being dispassionate about, and my responses are very valid. I think it should be more that way. How do you think I can be more dispassionate? Like just removing myself from the situation mentally?
I think maybe it helps to watch your passions. You keep watch of yourself. You know how the Bible says to watch and pray?
Yeah.
And test yourself? I think that if you're watching yourself and what gets you excited, happy or sad or angry or whatever, what moves you, catch those things. And then maybe like that will be, let God purify you from that mess.
All right, amen. Got it.
Because you don't necessarily want to just flee every situation. It's fun. It's good sometimes to disconnect from all this news and stuff, because we are weak and subject to evil a lot of times. So you don't want to just be all into politics all the time, or news, or whatever you were talking to this person about. You don't want to be caught up with black violent crime or the globalists or whatever. You don't want to get carried away into that, because that's not all of life. It's this is going on generally, and certain instances, and that's that. It's not something to be judging, emotional, moved by, distraught by. There's nothing you can do about it, really, most of the time. And it's helpful to know about and maybe let people know. But if they don't want to hear it, that's fine. Hey, you have the show going on in the background. Turn off that show. Or mute the volume.
Yeah, I can hear you better. Yeah, okay. I was thinking to myself that I was stamped as a violent person because someone said it to me that way. But now I can see that I'm not that way. It may just be something I should remove myself from the conversation if I feel some kind of way in the future. So, okay.
Yeah, and if somebody accuses you of that, that's an evil person, and you want to stay away from a person like that, because that person...
Oh, yeah, I don't talk to that person no more. I remove myself. I don't even...
Yeah, because they could turn around and just put you in the gulag.
Yeah.
Yeah, you don't want to dox yourself as a conservative to everybody. It's just not safe for conservatives in this country.
Especially if you're a white male, in your 40s,
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I just thought to myself that if I was a black male, would they think I'm a violent person? But is it just my white mouth speaking sounds violent too?
True, yeah. People are not used to a white man speaking the truth. They feel like, for example, they think that Trump is angry, but really they're angry. And they're angry at the truth that Trump is saying. And Trump isn't saying it with any anger.
Yeah,
they're projecting it.
I see that a lot.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
But don't react to their projection. Don't be insulted by their projection. If you are, catch yourself being insulted. Don't deny that within yourself. Don't try to hide from that feeling of being insulted.
Okay.
And that's how you repent and get stronger and tougher and more peaceful the next time.
That's it. Okay. Thank you.
I appreciate the question. It's pretty interesting, and I think we can all relate to this type of stuff, interacting with crazy disagreeers.
Yeah, for sure. I like to be in agreement with all men, but I don't think it's always possible. So
that's right.
I'll just learn from this. Yeah. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you, man.
Have a good rest of your day. I appreciate the insight. You're always good with discernment. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Justin. Take care.
Later.
Bye. A quick follow-up super chat from Popcorn's Thump Keg. He has an edit. 1 out of 1,000 means 1 for every 1,000 people executed. 1 innocent person gets executed. Would you be okay with that? You think the system gets it right 100% of the time? No, I don't think that the system, they use the word system, the people in the system get it right 100% of the time. So, so 1 out of every 1,000 people. What, you stop all executions because in one corrupt town or one corrupt, say New York City, corrupt place like that, or L.A., even though they're not doing executions in these liberal towns right now. That's not how you do it, though. When there's no question, you do it. When there's a question, you don't do it. You don't ban the executions just because an innocent person got executed somewhere. It's a big old country, you know? Or it's a big old state. Can you name an innocent person who got executed? Where we agree that the person was innocent? Jesus? Anyway, thank you, Popcorn Stump Cake. Interesting. Okay, we're getting close to the ending over here, and I have callers to get to. Jaime in Minnesota on the line here. Jaime, thank you for calling and holding. What's up? Jaime, come off of mute. Hey, what's up? Go ahead.
Hey, I wanted to talk to you about gas prices.
Okay.
I've been looking up some information, and the cost of gasoline in California, some areas, is about $4.30. Does that sound right? $4.30.
If you call it average in California, that sounds quite possible. We pay over $5 over here generally, but lately.
I checked some certain cities.
Could be.
A gas checker.
Yeah.
And so that's the prices that I saw. But I also saw a graph that tears down what goes into the cost of gasoline, and it's about $2 for the cost of the oil, crude to make it, and it's about $1.06 for the company to make it. That's including the pay that they pay the workers.
Yeah.
And there's about another $1 and some change, $1.20 or so, in taxes for federal. Smallest amount was like 17 cents for federal, state, local, and all those other things. And this is for California.
Right.
So $1 and so goes to the actual production, the machines, the running of the machines, and all that, and also the pay of the people.
Okay.
Which is a very, very small amount. And the largest amount is the price of the oil itself. And then the second largest is all the taxes, the different taxes.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Wow.
Now, I do agree with you that wages are artificially high.
Right.
And that is because of...
hold on one
second. Go ahead.
What?
Jaime, black, Mexican, or white?
Jaime, you're a white Mexican, right? White Hispanic. Yeah, he's white Hispanic. Mexican?
Yes.
Okay, nice.
Mexican, Spanish.
They're making bets in the office, and I have the AC on in here, and it feels so nice. And JLP is bundled up in jackets. Pardon me, my strange interlude. And we're coming down to the end of the show, and you're eating up time. Yeah, Jaime's white Hispanic. Carry on,
I was
Jaime.
educated in a white public rural school, though.
Nice. Yeah, we can tell.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So, anyways, now the artificial rise in wages is because of costs. Everything costs so much.
Yeah, that's their excuse. Yep.
Companies have to negotiate wages.
True.
And when workers come and say, I need to be able to pay rent, I need to be able to keep my house and buy food and things like that, that takes away negotiating power from the companies.
True. Yeah, because all the workers have to pay all that stuff just to do their living.
Just to do their living.
And that's partly because of the inflation.
Ask Jaime how come sometimes he call in as Jimmy.
He stopped calling in as Jimmy.
Oh, he stopped?
Yeah, it's been years.
Yeah, I just did that because the picker-upper of the phone couldn't understand.
Oh, yeah, the Derek couldn't understand him. That's why he did it.
That's why he did it?
Yeah, but he repented.
Just to help out, make it easy.
Yeah.
Derek couldn't understand his name?
Right.
Oh, so he was trying to help the black out?
Yeah, he was trying to help the black guy.
Yeah, not only am I kind, but I'm humble as well.
It's not just the It's also the government setting these things, though. And the government is setting them partly because of the inflation, out of control inflation. That's true.
The biggest part that the government is playing is the prices on energy. And we can see that the most these past 4 years.
Wow.
Biden term.
Yeah.
So they want to push oil down, and they want to bring solar and wind up.
Okay.
And the country isn't ready for that. It'll probably never be ready for that. Now,
I believe that.
Trump, he'll bring the oil prices down. So instead of these companies buying the oil at $2 per gallon to make the gallon, they can buy it probably at 75 cents. This guy's going to cut it down over half, is what he says.
Wow.
And if we know Trump, he's going to do even better than what he says he's going to do.
True.
So if you bring the price of oil down by, $1.25, the cost is now like $2 and something cents, $2.75 to make oil. Now there's room for companies to say to the employees, we're going to renegotiate these wages and we're going to pay less since it costs less for you to live.
Yeah.
And there may be some people that are more sticklers, like the unions. There are sticklers. They're going to try and say higher. But companies are going to be able to say, have much more negotiating power and say, no, wages are coming down.
Or they can just they can better afford to pay those wages because minimum wage has never gone backwards.
Right.
Yeah.
I guess I'm
But I get you, man. Very interesting. And you're it's a fair point about the energy thing. I have to rush you off the phone, though.
Okay. Another time. Bye.
Thank you, man. Man. Rick in Hampton, Virginia wanted to talk about capital punishment. I had to run Jaime off. JLP wilding in the studio. Could be worse. There's worse cases of wilding. Ever heard of the Central Park 5? Don't want to cross those people. Wilding in Central Park. Or wilding. I gotta end. It's not Staves Acre Tuesday, guys. It is Adriana, the rapper, Tuesday. And Joel Friday will be coming on live. We'll see what happens. You know Trump is the man for the job. You already know it. Any remaining super chatters? What's up, Xenia, the supporter? She says the town I live in now has a windmill that doesn't work and a Mount Trashmore. Terrible. Thank you for your support, as always, Xenia, monthly supporter over on the Rumble crew. Shout out to the D-Live people, Gigi Cash, a couple of lemons. Aries 1 with 19 ice creams. Nikki following. Bethany, Tyler, the Cash App, I think we're caught up. Gregatron, thanks again. Again, thank you, Popcorn Stump Keg. And Barbecue Pringle, Ego is Real, Sam Lemons. Thank you, guys. I got to end on time. Peace in the Middle East, or at least in your hearts. Here's Adriana.
Don't take the bait. You know that they are fake. I rest my case. There's no debate. Listen to Hake. He tells it like it should. Them posers wish they could. They roaming around in the ground. Watch out, they lying now. Call me network evil snakes. That's why we listen to Hake. Hake. The Hake News.
So good. Thank you, Adriana. Sorry that was a little quiet. Bye, guys.